Today we're going to talk about a very recent event that happened in Manchester, UK. On the morning of October 2nd, 2025, as worshippers gathered for Yom Kippur, the holiest day in the Jewish calendar, a peaceful moment of prayer in Manchester was shattered. What began as a day of reflection and atonement turned into one of the most bad incidents the city had seen in decades. If you watch until the end, I promise I'll tell you that when and how did it happen, who was the attacker, and what do we know about him? How did the police respond? Were there any arrests? What happened after the incident? Where do things stand right now? All new updates. This incident took place on Thursday, October 2nd, 2025. That date is significant because it was Yom Kippur, the holiest day of the year in the Jewish faith. Dozens of worshippers had gathered at Heaton Park Hebrew Congregation, a synagogue deeply rooted in the city's Jewish life, to observe Yom Kippur, a day dedicated to prayer, fasting, and forgiveness. For many, the service was a moment of peace and reflection. Manchester is home to the UK's second-largest Jewish community, so this was a significant day of observance for many in the area. The timeline of what happened next is rapid. Shortly before 9:30 a.m., that peace was broken. A car accelerated toward a group of people outside the synagogue. A man drove into a group of pedestrians who were outside the synagogue entrance. Then, stepping out of the vehicle, he began attacking and moving toward more people nearby. Witnesses described scenes of incident as congregants shouted warnings and rushed to get others to safety. Inside, synagogue leaders acted fast. They locked the doors and barricaded the entrance, ensuring that the attacker could not breach the building. Those quick decisions would later be credited with preventing a far greater tragedy. At 9:31 a.m., a call was made to the Greater Manchester Police. A member of the public reported seeing a car driving towards people near the synagogue and that one person had been attacked. The response from law enforcement was incredibly swift. By 9:37 a.m., just 6 minutes after the initial call, the Greater Manchester Police had declared a major incident and initiated Operation Plato, which is the code for a suspected attack. A minute later, at 9:38 a.m., within 7 minutes of the first emergency call, armed officers arrived. They confronted the suspect, who appeared to be wearing what looked like an explosive device. It was later confirmed to be a fake. For public safety, police stopped the attacker on the scene. No tool was found on the suspect. 2 members of the community tragically lost their lives. They have been identified as 53-year-old Adrian Daulby and 66-year-old Melvin Cravitz. Another 3 people were seriously injured in the attack. In a deeply unfortunate turn of events, Greater Manchester Police later announced that one of the men who passed away and another who was injured may have been accidentally struck by police gunfire in the urgent effort to stop the attacker. This highlights the chaotic and dangerous situation the officers were facing. The families of the 2 men died in the Manchester synagogue attack have described them as heroic people who cared about their community. The family of 53-year-old Adrian Daulby, who is believed to have been accidentally struck by police, described him as a hero who tragically lost his life in the act of courage to save others. Daulby was one of the worshippers who stopped an attacker from entering Heaton Park Hebrew Congregation Synagogue on Thursday, Greater Manchester Police said. The other man who died was 66-year-old Melvin Cravitz, who is thought to have been attacked by the attacker at the gate of the synagogue. His family paid tribute to a kind, caring man who would be sorely missed. In a statement provided by police, they said, "Melvin would do anything to help anyone. He was so kind, caring, and always wanted to chat and get to know people. He was devoted to his wife, family, and loved his food. He will be sorely missed by his wife, family, friends, and community." Police said Daulby's injury may have been sustained as a tragic and unforeseen consequence of the urgently required action taken by our officers to bring an attack to an end. He was behind a synagogue door holding it closed when he died. In a tribute issued by the force, his family said, "He was a beloved brother, loving uncle to his 4 nieces and 1 nephew, and a cherished cousin. His final act was one of profound courage, and he will forever be remembered for his heroic act on Thursday, 2nd October 2025. They said, "As Adrian's family, we are heartbroken by his passing. We kindly ask for privacy at this time as we grieve and seek the answers we need. Thank you for your understanding and respect." So, who was responsible for this? Police identified the individual as 35-year-old Jihad Al-Shamie, a British citizen of Syrian descent. At the time of the incident, He was reportedly out on police bail for a separate, unrelated allegation. The attacker was wearing a vest that appeared to hold an explosive device, but it was later determined to be fake. The attacker was dead by police response at the scene and subsequently died from his injuries. Records indicate that Shamie, whose surname translates directly to the Syrian, immigrated to the United Kingdom as a young boy. He was naturalized as a British citizen in the mid-2000s, specifically in 2006, after having resided in the country for at least 30 years. His family had established roots in the Greater Manchester area for decades. Shamie was a father, evidenced by his father approximately 1 month after he filed for debt relief. His immediate family publicly condemned the attack, expressing deep sorrow over the bad act targeting peaceful civilians. Shamie's residential status was associated with a 3-bed end terrace council property in Prestwich, located about 2 miles from the Heaton Park Synagogue. Shamie initially lived with both parents and 2 younger brothers, though his father, reportedly a trauma surgeon who worked for various non-governmental organizations, had moved out 6 or 7 years prior. While Shamie was understood to have worked vocationally as a tutor, teaching English and computer programming, his financial status indicates significant distress prior to the attack. Government insolvency records listed him as unemployed and show he had successfully applied for a debt relief order in September 2024. This profound financial failure preceding the October 2025 attack suggests that acute socioeconomic stress may have served as a crucial window. The period of financial collapse may have created the necessary psychological conditions for Shamie to embrace a radical ideology, possibly offering a sense of purpose, in this case, the Jewish community, for his personal failings. Some neighbors described him as a smashing lad to talk to, just the same as everyone else, noting that he didn't stand out in any way. Conversely, another neighbor described him as an odd guy, noting his poor parking habits and inconsistent attire, sometimes wearing a full gown and sometimes casual jeans or pajama bottoms. Despite his deep embedding within British society, Shamie was largely unknown to formal community networks. The Syrian-British Consortium reported that no one in their extensive networks could identify him or confirm knowing him personally. This confirms Shamie's profile as a clean skin, a criminal who was naturalized and resident for decades, but whose radicalization was likely personalized, successfully evading the attention of both neighborhood groups and formal security services. The disconnect between his apparent integration, citizenship, tutoring job, and his severe underlying financial and criminal distress illustrates the challenge faced by authorities in identifying individuals whose path to crime is driven by acute personal crises intersecting with ideological materials. The case of Jihad Al-Shamie is defined by systemic oversights that facilitated his ability to plan and execute an incident while already interacting with the criminal justice system. The analysis reveals that Shamie had a confirmed history of criminality that preceded the incident. He was the subject of an active investigation for bad crime, which occurred earlier in 2025. Crucially, Shamie was on police bail at the time he attacked the Manchester Synagogue. Greater Manchester police records indicated that Jihad Al-Shamie had no previous referrals to the national scheme. The Home Secretary also confirmed that he was not previously known to either the police or the security services. The investigation into the attack suggests that Jihad Al-Shamie may not have been a wholly solitary actor. 3 individuals were arrested shortly after the incident on suspicion of the commission and preparation of this incident. The suspects comprised 2 men in their 30s and a woman in her 60s. Scenes linked to these arrests were secured at multiple locations. These arrests, which include an older woman, indicate a possible supportive network that might have provided logistical, financial, or ideological assistance to Shamie, potentially helping him navigate the financial distress represented by his debt relief order or facilitating the planning stages of the incident. As of reporting, these suspects remain in custody. Though no formal charges have been specified, the Prime Minister Keir Starmer stated that the attack targeted Jews because they are Jews and attacked Britain because of our values. Home Secretary Shabana Mahmood said, "We will do whatever is required to keep our Jewish community safe. To those who seek to divide us, they will fail." London Mayor Sadiq Khan said, "I know many want to go to the synagogue and worship. I want to reassure them that in London, they will be seeing additional police officers. People should be allowed to go about and practice their faith knowing they're going to be safe." Unfortunately, too many Jewish Londoners, Jewish people across the country, Jewish people across the globe, don't feel that way, and that's heartbreaking. King Charles III said in a statement that he and Queen Camilla were deeply saddened to learn of the attack in Manchester, especially on such a significant day for the Jewish community. Our thoughts and prayers are with all those affected by this incident, and we greatly appreciate the swift actions of the services. Manchester's Jewish community has a history that spans more than 150 years. The Manchester Central Synagogue, along with others like Heaton Park Hebrew Congregation, stands as a symbol of that heritage, places where generations have prayed, celebrated, and sought refuge. Over time, these synagogues have not only been houses of worship, but also vital centers of education, charity, and cultural identity. The 2025 attack was a painful chapter in that long story, but it is not the final one. The community remains determined to honor its past, protect its present, and shape a future defined by peace, unity, and resilience. This is not just the story of an attack. It is the story of a community that refused to be broken. Police continue to refine their approach, investing in better protection for places of worship and strengthening cooperation with community security teams. Police said there would be heightened security at synagogues and Jewish community centers in the coming days. As for the victims, the community is in a period of mourning. A fund has already been set up to help those affected by the attack, including for things like medical expenses and other support services. Before we wrap up, I just want to take a moment to remember Adrian and Melvin. They were real people with families, friends, and lives. Our thoughts are with their loved ones and the entire Manchester Jewish community during this incredibly difficult time. As the investigation continues, we will keep you updated with any new, confirmed information. Please be respectful in the comments. If you found this video helpful, please give it a like, and don't forget to subscribe for more in-depth, fact-based reporting on true crime and current events. Thanks for watching.